Welcome, everyone, to a topic that's sparking conversations in break rooms, boardrooms, and family dinners across the globe. Why Gen Z is refusing to work 9-to-5 jobs. If you're Gen Z, you might be nodding your head. If you're from a different generation, you might be scratching it. Either way, this isn't just a generational preference, it's a profound shift in the very fabric of work, driven by a generation that's rewriting the rules. For decades, the 9-to-5, Monday to Friday grind was the gold standard. It was the pathway to stability, the promise of a pension, and the bedrock of the middle class. Our parents and grandparents often saw it as an honorable sacrifice, trading personal time for professional security. But Gen Z, born roughly between the mid-1990s and the early 2010s, is looking at this model and saying, thanks, but no thanks. And it's not because they're lazy, entitled, or afraid of hard work. In fact, it's quite the opposite. To understand this phenomenon, we need to understand the world Gen Z grew up in. They are digital natives, the first generation to never know a world without the internet, smartphones, and social media. They've witnessed economic recessions, global pandemics, and an accelerating pace of technological change that has fundamentally altered how we communicate, learn, and earn. They've seen their parents work tirelessly, sometimes sacrificing their well-being for jobs that, in many cases, didn't offer the security once promised. They've watched as automation and AI began to reshape industries, making traditional career paths less predictable. Let's delve into some key reasons behind this seismic shift. 1. The pursuit of purpose over paycheck. Gen Z is often characterized by a strong desire for purpose and meaning in their work. They want to feel like their contributions matter, that their work aligns with their values, and that they are making a positive impact on the world. The idea of simply trading hours for a paycheck, without a deeper connection to the work, feels unfulfilling. They've seen the downsides of a purely transactional relationship with work and are seeking something more enriching. This isn't to say money isn't important, but it's often not the primary driver. 2. The demand for flexibility and autonomy. Having grown up with instant access to information and the ability to connect with anyone, anywhere, Gen Z values flexibility above almost all else. The rigid structure of a 9-to-5 workday feels archaic and restrictive. They understand that productivity isn't always tied to a desk or a specific set of hours. They want the autonomy to manage their own schedules, work from different locations, and integrate their professional and personal lives in a way that suits them. The pandemic, with its forced experiment in remote work, only accelerated this desire, proving that many jobs can be done effectively outside of traditional office settings. 3. Mental health and well-being as a priority. Gen Z is arguably the most open generation about mental health. They've grown up in an era where discussions about anxiety, burnout, and stress are more prevalent. They are acutely aware of the toll that demanding, inflexible work environments can take on their well-being. They're prioritizing self-care, work-life balance, and environments that support their mental health. The traditional 9-to-5, with its potential for long hours, commutes, and constant pressure, often doesn't align with these priorities. They're willing to walk away from jobs that compromise their mental health, even if it means less financial gain. 4. Entrepreneurial spirit and the gig economy. Thanks to the internet, Gen Z has unprecedented access to tools and platforms that allow them to create their own opportunities. From starting online businesses and content creation to freelancing and consulting, the gig economy offers a compelling alternative to traditional employment. They've seen influencers, YouTubers, and digital entrepreneurs achieve success on their own terms, inspiring a generation to carve out their own paths. This entrepreneurial spirit is fueled by a desire for control, creative freedom, and the ability to directly reap the rewards of their labor. 5. Skepticism of traditional corporate structures. Gen Z has witnessed corporate scandals, economic instability, and a widening wealth gap. They are often skeptical of large corporate structures, hierarchical management, and the idea of lifelong loyalty to a single employer. They've seen that job security is no longer guaranteed, even in established companies. This skepticism makes them less inclined to invest their entire lives into a system they perceive as potentially unstable or exploitative. They are more likely to job hop in search of better opportunities, greater alignment with their values, or simply more fulfilling work experiences. Let me tell you a story to illustrate this point. A story about Maya. Maya graduated from college with a degree in digital marketing. Like many of her peers, she had dreams of making a real impact, not just pushing papers. Her parents, both lifelong corporate employees, were thrilled when she landed a prestigious marketing associate role at a large, well-established firm in the city. "It's a foot in the door, Maya," her dad had said. "Work hard, keep your head down, and you'll climb the ladder." Maya started with enthusiasm. She bought new work clothes, practiced her commute, and tried to absorb everything. The office was sleek, the benefits were good, and her colleagues seemed friendly enough. But within 6 months, a creeping disillusionment began to set in. Her days were rigidly structured. 9 a.m. sharp, every morning, regardless of whether she'd spent the previous evening perfecting a presentation or brainstorming campaign ideas. Most of her work involved endless meetings that felt unproductive, repetitive tasks that could easily be automated, and a constant pressure to be seen at her desk, even when she had completed her tasks. Her brilliant ideas, born from hours of online research and trend analysis, often got lost in layers of corporate bureaucracy or were dismissed by senior managers who preferred the way things have always been done. One particularly dreary Tuesday, Maya found herself staring at her computer screen, updating a spreadsheet that felt utterly meaningless. Outside, the sun was shining, and her friend Liam, a freelance graphic designer, had just posted a picture of himself working from a cafe by the beach. The contrast hit her hard. Liam chose his hours, worked on projects he was passionate about, and experienced the level of freedom Maya could only dream of from her cubicle. Maya felt a knot of anxiety tightening in her stomach. Her mental health, usually robust, was starting to fray. She was constantly tired, uninspired, and felt a growing sense of dread each Sunday evening. She saw her older colleagues, trapped in the same routine for years, their initial spark long extinguished, and a cold fear gripped her. Was this her future? One evening, after another late night at the office, feeling utterly drained, Maya sat down with her parents. She hesitantly explained her feelings at the lack of purpose, the rigidity, the impact on her well-being. Her parents, initially perplexed, tried to reassure her. "That's just how work is, sweetie," her mom said gently. "You pay your dues, you get ahead." But Maya couldn't shake the feeling that paying her dues was costing her something far more valuable than money: her youth, her creativity, her very sense of self. She decided she couldn't continue. With a mix of fear and exhilarating relief, she handed in her resignation. Her colleagues were shocked, her managers baffled. But the stability, they cried, the career path. Maya didn't have a clear plan, but she had a burning desire for something different. She started freelancing, leveraging her digital marketing skills for small businesses and startups. The initial months were tough. There was no steady paycheck, no corporate safety net, but there was also an incredible sense of liberation. She worked from home, from co-working spaces, even from cafes. She chose her clients, pursued projects that excited her, and saw the direct impact of her efforts. She learned to manage her time, market herself, and constantly upskill. She realized that true security wasn't about a company pension, it was about her skills, her adaptability, and her network. She had tough days, certainly, but even on those days, she felt a sense of agency, a connection to her work that the 9-to-5 had never offered. A year later, Maya wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. She had built a portfolio she was proud of, was earning more than she had at her corporate job, and most importantly, she felt alive again. Her mental health had improved dramatically. She had time for her hobbies, for friends, and for simply enjoying her life. Maya's story is not unique. It's a reflection of a generation that is redefining success. They're not rejecting work, they're rejecting a specific, outdated model of work. They're